This FedGov Today program is sponsored by ServiceNow and Carahsoft. On this edition of FedGov Today with Francis Rose, an ancient Greek inspiration for AI in government, building a control tower for your agency's AI efforts, and the Treasury's big fraud fighting tool scales up. Welcome to FedGov Today in Washington, D.C., on YouTube, and around the world on the American Forces Network. I'm Francis Rose. The Interior Department's path to AI transformation includes 4 directives from the Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum. One of the tools the department will use on that path is called the Parthenon Framework. John Montel is Associate Chief Information Officer at Interior. John, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
How did you get from an ancient Greek building to a framework for artificial intelligence implementation?
Yeah, it's interesting. We needed a model that would take our business, how we do business today, and streamline it for AI. So rapid implementation, rapid agile approaches to how we want to implement technologies and how we want to convert legacy technologies to something adventurous as AI today or agentic AI tomorrow. So the Parthenon really takes all the pieces that government contracting, security, information technology, training, communications, logistics, compresses it into a rapid, agile business model that we can then implement these technologies with.
When you go out and talk about this, you tell folks that the core concept of this is that AI is only as good as the data it consumes.
Correct.
Data is obviously then a very important part of this framework too.
You're right, and preparing for that data is even more critical. Having all the communications and all the pieces, the policies, the rules and regulations understood and in place before you start to tackle your data is a critical part of that.
What did you have to do at Interior before, when you started on this journey, to get yourself ready to be in that position?
Yeah, we have to sit down with our key stakeholders. We have to sit down with our mission folks, both on the front line and the administrative executives on the back end. We have to understand what the goals and objectives are. And we need to separate what it is that we need and what it is that we want. The things that we want to tackle down the road. But there are immediate things that we need to address a lot of the AI challenges that we're facing. So working with those entities gives us that opportunity to, again, rapidly agile develop and implement.
I imagine you're not just doing that on the agency level either. It's not just horizontal, it's also vertical as you're working with organizations in the bureaus and sub-agencies.
Absolutely. Also with the Office of the Chief Information Officer and across organizational entities and other agencies as well, like Department of Justice and the Hill as well.
Who are your main partners within Interior in making sure this gets done right? Not just in OCIO, but all across the organization.
Well, beyond the business owners is mostly the Office of the Chief Information Officer, making sure that we're aligning with the strategies that they have, especially when it comes to technology and its innovation. You're looking at an organization of 75,000 employees, 1,100 plus systems, most of them level 1 or level 2 systems. So they're mission critical systems, and making sure that the paths that we're choosing and the technologies that we're adopting align with those strategies.
How fine do you have to slice it to analyze those systems to determine whether they're ready to be included, whether they're ready to be onboarded into this system?
That's a good question. Again, I think it comes down to you can change any system. It's really understanding what you need to change and how you need to change it. And that's really working with those key stakeholders.
Are there also potential ramifications for how you change a system? Maybe you can change it this way and it'll work well. Change it this way and you don't get what you want.
Yeah, you have to get to KPIs, you have to get to risk, you have to measure these things as you go along. And in technologies like artificial intelligence, these are also very rapidly moving. So dashboarding becomes very critical, and instant information that you can get on a day-to-day basis.
What are you looking at on those dashboards? What do you want to know about what's going on?
My KPIs, my key performance indicators, and what the risk levels are when it comes to data, cybersecurity, information management, things of that nature.
Here's how you frame this when you go out and talk about it. You're working on a transition from what you call a high-friction manual interface to an AI-ready ecosystem, eliminating click fatigue of legacy systems and empowering users with proactive intelligence. How did you go about analyzing what you had to determine what the delta was between what you had and that vision of the AI-ready ecosystem?
Yeah, I think if you look at where the administration is going and that kind of that middle piece that was mostly manual, mostly input, output, print out, print up kind of technologies, and really looking to automate that, I think it's very easy to detect that, to see that. The challenge is really working with leadership to let them know that you can do it while the bus is moving down the road. Right? You're changing the tires, you're making sure that mission can still continue. So developing parallel artificial intelligence systems that have this business model that can then transition rapidly. And to the end user, it looks the same, it feels the same, it's just better automated and more in tune with what their mission objectives are.
If I read between the lines of what you're telling me, you're confirming what I'm hearing from a lot of other folks in a lot of other agencies, and that is that AI is no longer something that you must consider the infrastructure of your agency for. It's becoming part of the infrastructure of the way the agency does business. Am I pulling the right thing out
Absolutely, of that? Absolutely. Like going from the telephone to the cell phone. Yep.
Yep.
Integral part.
Yeah. And what's that mean for the workforce and how you're educating them about what the capabilities are that they have now available to them?
Yeah, this is something we face a lot. Is the human in the loop is one thing, right? Making sure that the people who run mission have a say in how artificial intelligence is making decisions or what it's doing, so they're involved. But it also leads to education and training and letting employees know that we don't want to get rid of them, we want to actually elevate them. We want to teach them about data and information management, because that's where we're going. We're going into large-scale information management, a lot like a local library if you want to see trends analysis and predictive analytics for business missions.
So to the point of the Parthenon, the titling of it, you said recently, AI isn't just a roof, it requires structural pillars and a solid base to stay upright. What are some of the pillars and some of that structure that support that roof?
Yeah, so if I'm developing an artificial intelligence system, if I'm going to redesign a program today, I'm not going to historically type up external procedures or external training and have somebody go here to do this and go to that. I want to include everything into that artificial intelligence framework. So with the Parthenon pillars do it, it lets me take communications as chatbots or as notices coming out, lets me take education and training, making it like you're ordering a pizza, like it's simple and straightforward. Putting in the policies and procedures so somebody doesn't have to go and look to see, it's built into the intelligence. Having it align with the Code of Federal Regulations, which is critical in the federal government, so you can use that as a baseline for that artificial intelligence workflow. And by doing those things, you're actually helping the employee transition from what they used to do into this more of a mission-oriented data management environment.
And to pull on your analogy a little bit, and I hope I'm not oversimplifying this to the point of silliness, but one of the things people like about ordering a pizza now is you can track it online and you can see where it is. Is that something that's also a capability?
Absolutely. Not only do you want to see when it's being made, but I also want to see when it's being delivered, right? Which is critical. We all want that today. Uber is another great example. I want to know when my car is coming. It's the same thing with the business I want to do with the government and the citizens. I want to know where my taxes are. I want to know when information is coming to me and have that ability to interact with my government, and that's what this would provide.
You anticipated my next question, which is what are the customer experience elements that you're considering as you're building these things, and what are the interactivities that you're considering as far as the way that your folks inside the agency will use them, maybe rethinking business processes and so on?
I think what the Parthenon does is it allows us to develop applications and business models for those applications that are like the tools we use in our private life. Right? As we're banking, as we see new features show up and have that interactiveness, to be able to chat with the respondent on the other side, on the government side, if I'm looking for a case or researching something, be able to have that move to a phone, just like we do if we're using a personal application. So I think those technologies we want to have available today. And there's no reason why we shouldn't, right?
We have about a minute left. How do you mark or measure the progress that you're making using the Parthenon framework to make sure you're staying on track, or maybe you have to redirect it a little bit?
Yeah, I think the model is very well proven over the years. It's come to a point where we're able to not only meet our fiscal obligations, but we're also to have a very high TCO or a very high cost-benefit analysis report. Our risks are low, our risks are green, our cyber is green, our infrastructure is green, and we're actually able to rapidly agile more and more products.
It's great to have you on the program.
I
Thanks for
appreciate you
coming
having
on
me.
to talk about it.
Thank you so much.
You can read more about the Parthenon Framework on today's show page at fedgovtoday.com. A reminder, FedGov Today TV's moving to 10 a.m. starting this week. If you record the show to watch later, make sure you change your record time to 10 a.m. every Sunday morning starting this week. Up next, building a control tower for your agency's AI efforts. FedGov Today with Francis Rose. We'll be right back.